Yeah, I will actually start with a video, but as Juliana already mentioned, in the past 5 years, I'm focusing more on water-sensitive planning and how to actually engage the different stakeholders into water-sensitive planning in the Southeast Asian region. So it's a little bit different context. In the past, I was working in the context here, but since 5 years, we tried to bring the tools that we are using here into the context of Southeast Asia. And we face a lot of challenges and also opportunities, but I think we will start with the video where you will have some snapshots from our research there, and then I will try to explain a little bit more on the methodologies and tools that we used in there. And I think this is the video.
Ini adalah tanah-tanah kaki. Ini Rispa. Tôiถามกันจุดอันนี้สมมติว่าเส้นทางนี้เขาหมายกว่ามาได้บอกคิดกว่ามาได้บอก
ini kas desa juga, cuman karena nggak dapat air ya di bero gitu loh. Ini rencana
Move to the presentation. So this probably was quite fast. There were some snapshots from what we are actually trying to do, and it's more hands-on approach. I thought that maybe today in the presentation I will focus more on what kind of experiences we were having instead of theory. And explain a little bit more how do we produce these different spaces that the communities feel safe, and how to actually involve them in a different context. So our research uses water as a strategic entry point. We find water as a fundamental resource and that is essential in human life as a connecting topic. So it is actually easier finding one focal point, one topic to address it within the community and the different stakeholder groups. It is the research that we are doing. It's a practice-oriented research. So we work quite a lot also with municipalities, public and private sector, and then the most important, so the communities and civil societies. And the case studies that we are actually working on are in Laos, Indonesia, and Cambodia. Here you could see some examples from Indonesia and Laos. We are currently also starting the case study of working on the case study in Cambodia. This is a little bit showing our approach and the different disciplines that we combine. We work on the interface of social, institutional, physical, and natural system. There are a lot of different topics that are interconnecting, but when we try to bring it all to focus on water issues, and this allows us to engage different stakeholders and also different generations. Yeah, and maybe a little bit more on the methods and tools. We are using mostly multiple actor workshops, transect works and walks and participatory mapping as tools for transdisciplinary and inclusive knowledge production. And this means a construction of knowledge, so different perspectives and different forms of knowledge production, and that will always enrich our research. And community-based research perspective, so we actually think that it's not only the research that is for science, it's also for the communities. So we make sure that actually the communities are beneficial in this research outcomes. So we always try to put them in the center and try to actually co-design with them this research. So this means actually the long-standing, long-term partnerships. First, you always have to build a relationship that actually is the first key for us in order to build some kind of cooperation and the real outcomes from the research. So using different customized methodologies, we learn that it is of course not possible to use always the same methodologies or bring methodologies that we use in the case studies, for example, here and try to do it also in the different contexts. We also tried in the different countries in Southeast Asia to use similar methodologies, but this was also not possible because you always have to adjust to the situation and to the group of the stakeholders that you are working with. And then, of course, the cultural aspect is very important. So we used quite a lot of participatory observation as a method. So we try to actively engage in the daily life of the stakeholders, of the community members, and we try to follow them also in the fields and act together with them, learn what they do every day, and through that also observe and try to make documentation and learn the experiences. And through that, we believe that we can get a deeper and better understanding of what actually the issues, the problems are in order to tackle them, and also get really the perspective from the stakeholders so that it just doesn't come from one side. And then, for example, doing the interviews, we usually try to do collaborative interviews, so also the community and the other stakeholders design with us the questions for the interviews, and quite often they also conduct the interviews with the other community stakeholders, community members. So it's not only us as researchers going there and trying to come with sometimes difficult questions and different language also that we use in the scientific world, but more trying to blend into the processes that are already happening locally. And as you could see also in the video, mapping, collaborative mapping is a method that we use quite a lot. It allows us to also have this mutual learning and dialogue, and it's a kind of a collaborative ethnographic method that is in between. We work in between of the social science and special studies, so we always try to also localize and refer to the different geographical spaces. Doing that, actually, we discovered that one of the most important points when we are trying to organize any kind of activities are the strategic locations, so that we make our participant feeling safe and feeling comfortable. So we create a neutral and inviting environments. So sometimes we organize such activities on the go. Sometimes they are on the streets, in some mosques, in community centers, universities. It really depends on a different context and the different participants and audience that we would like to achieve. But we always start in one place and then try to really follow the participants and the actors that are working together with us. And of course, reflexive dialogue is also one of the methodologies that is very important. So we always design the process the way that actually the feedback and coming back to the communities is the most important. So then we can critically see also the topics that we are approaching and discussing. Another important aspect that we found sometimes challenging is the important is the spatial setting of the room. So, for example, you can see that here we were working in Laos in a completely different political system, and to actually create this space that is comfortable and safe for the participants, it might be sometimes difficult. You can see on the third picture, the first day, one of the first workshops was actually very official meeting, and we saw that that most of the participants were not able to participate or were not feeling comfortable to actually express their perspectives, their opinions. So what we learned that in the next session in the afternoon, we actually tried to simply change the setting of the room and put all the tables together so that we can all stand together around the table and think together about what we want to plan for our cities, for our neighborhoods. And this may, of course, work out sometimes, but sometimes also other participants would feel uncomfortable in this kind of situation. So another example could be the map in the middle that you can see that was drawn actually by one participant that was not feeling comfortable to come to the table and work together on one map, but he also created his own map where he had tried to explain to us what is happening in his neighborhood and what kind of issues connected also to the water is he and his family and the neighbors dealing with. So doing participatory mapping or workshops, we always try to be prepared to have more methodologies than just one or two, because we never know what kind of stakeholders or participants will be working with us. Although you can always, do the analysis at the upfront, but you actually never know who will finish in the room and who will feel comfortable in what kind of situation. That is actually the last slide, because I think that was exactly 10 minutes. So I hope we can engage more in the discussion and talk more about the different experiences.